What up?
Yeah, we're back.
Yep, we're back once again. We are Carless.
For the last time.
For the last time.
We will be
until
Carless.
next week,
Yeah.
maybe. Or sometime in the future.
We'll get there.
We'll get there. This is Ryan.
I'm Wally.
And we're the Film Fuks.
Fuck yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. Blah, 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 blah,
And
blah.
now we have
Blah,
a
blah, blah.
family-friendly episode for y'all.
We do. The family is friend. Like, if you guys love toys, and I'm not talking about
and you
the
love
sexual
stories.
kind.
Yeah.
And stories.
sex
and,
stories.
And you are kind of over the numbers 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah,
Have
you're ready
we
for a
got
fourth
a
time.
review for you?
Heck yes.
May the 4th be with you.
Child's Play 4.
Child's Play.
They
the
already
new
made
Child's
a
Play
one,
movie.
Yeah. It's
yeah.
weird they called it Child's Play 4.
It's weird that
They
it's
retconned the Bride of Chucky.
that's
That was
because
the
it's
fourth movie.
for you and for me. While he's
Yay.
sipping on some Gatorade like a child.
Yeah.
He didn't know there was
my
sodium
sippy
in
cup.
there.
I didn't. This is blowing my
These
mind.
are-
There's
yeah,
salt
facts.
in this drink.
Okay, so we're gonna give Grant a call and see if he can review this movie. It might be a little interesting, so let's
Yeah.
see if he picks up.
Hang
He
on to your
might.
seats, people.
He might not.
We got Carl on backup though.
We got Carl on
on
backup.
deck.
Yep. There we go. I don't think he's gonna answer.
Just don't give up.
Nope. I always say I don't think he's gonna answer, and then he'll just randomly answer. So,
Hello, Domino's. Come on, Domino's, pick up.
Domino's, we're hungry. We want
Mucho
your delicious.
hambre.
Your call has been forwarded to
Yeah.
an automatic.
All right.
That's great for the podcast. Should we call Carl?
Wait. Yeah, let's go, Carl.
Okay, we're gonna tell him that
We missed another movie.
He missed another movie because he wanted to go to Summerfest and then didn't respond to anything else we said.
This is on you, Carl.
Is he gonna be mad that we're hanging out without him?
Let's find out.
Okay, live on the air. You know Carl, he's like notoriously mad
All the time.
all
So much
the time.
alpha male frustration.
Yep. Ugh.
Ugh.
Hello.
Carl,
Carl!
where are you?
Currently in McHenry.
Why are you in McHenry?
Is that where Summerfest is?
I was helping out my dad today
Nice.
Oh,
because
damn.
my car took a shit, so he's buying a van and I'm taking his van off his hands.
Oh,
So I'm gonna have to pay him a couple
Fun.
$100 for it.
damn. I did
Yeah.
not know that. Oh,
Anyways,
That's
Carl.
because that literally just happened,
Oh.
oh.
like
Okay.
yesterday.
Oh, yesterday even. Like that's like right. Okay.
Well, you're on the podcast.
Yeah, so well
Toy Story 4,
yeah,
Carl.
so
Give
Toy
us your
Story
quick,
4.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's
minute
your
review?
minute review?
Okay, well, I absolutely loved it. I mean, I've been a big fan of the Toy Story movies. Tim Allen, gotta love him.
You gotta love Tim Allen.
What did you think of him just going aruga like
Yeah,
a
he was
bunch
just
of
doing his home
he didn't
improvement
have
stuff,
any
yeah.
other lines. He just made the noise that he makes in
Yeah,
Home
Buzz, all
Improvement.
his catchphrases were
I was okay with it.
replaced with
I was okay with it.
You were okay with it? And
God, yeah.
the gratuitous sex scene between Bo Peep and her sheep.
yeah.
Who what
There's
are
a
their
lot of
names?
bestiality. Gruff, Fluffy, and Groucho.
Nope. I can't remember. Yeah, you liked it, Carl?
Oh, of course.
It was
I
su-
love adult jokes like that.
Yeah, oh, it was more than
It was
just an,
not- yeah,
an
it
adult
was-
joke.
Yeah.
It was an adult.
It made Sausage Party look like a PG movie.
Yeah. You saw
In
full
comparison.
porcelain penetration.
Yeah. And when it snapped, my God.
Oh, yeah, it broke. He hit it until it broke. Okay.
So you loved it. You loved all the porcelain penetration. 5 out of 5, right?
Yep. Yep.
You could give.
You know it.
Yeah, you fucking love this movie. You jerked off. You were hard in the movie theater. Wow.
Which was weird because there
whole
was a
time,
lot
dude.
of small children there.
Yeah. At least in our showing. And they were
Yeah.
gurgling.
They were gurgling a lot.
Wow. Yeah. Remember when. So, Carl, you don't know this. At the beginning of the podcast, we said that this was going to be a nice family friendly review.
Well, that went down the pooper right away.
Yep. Right down that shitter.
Thanks, Carl.
Well, you know how it goes,
Yeah.
One in the pink, one in the sink.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. That's not how it goes.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I know. It goes 2 in the pink, 1 in the sink.
I thought it was the opposite.
Yeah. I
Isn't
mean,
it one in the
teach
thing,
their
two in
own.
the thing?
Hey, you stick it where you can, you know.
Attaboy.
And as we know, Carl has 3 dicks.
Yep.
Okay, Carl.
3
um,
dick wonder.
I gotta
Thank
go,
you.
guys.
yeah, we'll let you go. Thanks for picking up.
So
All
it
right,
gives
bye.
it
Bye.
5 out of his 3 dicks.
5 out of his 3 dicks. I didn't know
That's
that was
pretty-
possible.
yeah.
But yeah. Oh god, it is hot in here. We are in the new fuckery studio where there's no AC. And
No AC. It's really, putting us at our odds ends, but
a wit's end, not
Wait.
odds end.
we're all,
We're all at our wit's end, odds end. Fairly Odd Parents.
great show.
Fairy, grass fairies. Yeah, this is what you're supposed to do in a podcast, right?
Just
Okay.
ramble. Okay, so
Yeah. We're
Toy Story. Give us your overall
So I have a tagline for this,
Okay.
and it's pretty great. And
Do
I
we
think
want to talk about the first 3? Though,
No.
First? No.
Why would we talk about them?
Just so people know our feelings on it.
Okay, yeah, we could talk about our history.
We were little kids when
We
the
were
first-
little kids. It was 2000. It was 1994, wasn't it?
It was 95.
95. So I mean, I was 2.
I was still shitting my diapers, dude.
I wasn't. I was
Yeah.
I was a baby Einstein.
Yeah.
I was shitting in other people's diapers. 'Cause we couldn't afford them. As-
He was-
just like
but-
like
yeah.
a baby Einstein. His family
was
couldn't
very
afford
poor.
diapers, and so he
Because
would
you guys
shit
just
in other
spent
people's.
it on a bunch of Toy Story VHS.
We did Toy Story VHSs. We actually had a
made-
Woody
yeah,
doll.
like-
I promptly chewed the nose off of it.
I had the T-Rex because I love dinosaurs. So
Yep,
I
yep.
chewed the tail off.
Oh
of
man,
that, yeah.
why did kids do that? Because his nose was so tantalizing as a kid, and
Mm-hmm.
I chomped into that like a motherfucker.
Yeah, this movie not realistic. The toys don't have bites out of them.
Toys don't have
They're not
any
all
sort of
stuffed out.
damage. Woody apparently is from the 50s.
Yeah,
That's one of the things you get in this
2019
movie.
now, people.
Yeah.
he should be dust.
He should be ripped apart, half rotten away. Andy can't have
Yeah,
been
he's made
his
of rubber.
first. He
Yeah.
can't have been his first child.
Okay, what is your log line? We're really just
Okay, so yeah, we're
jumping
just
into
jumping
this,
right
so-
in. Yeah, so my log line or my tagline is a beta male eventually learns
Made a toy.
a beta male toy finally comes to term with the fact that he's a beta male and assumes his rightful spot under
Now,
his
are you
alpha.
talking about Forky or are you talking about
I'm
Woody?
talking about Woody, man. Woody has been a beta since the very
So-
beginning. So
And
we'll
Forky
jump
is
in
just
back.
trash and he's accepted
Forky's
this.
just the new guy. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
trash. He knows he's trash. He constantly jumps into the trash. He calls everybody else trash, and apparently that's endearing.
It's very endearing,
it's
especially
very-
when you say it 20 times.
Yeah. But no, because Woody, I mean, from the get-go, he gets replaced. He thinks he's the cock of the walk. He thinks he's the sheriff in town. But
Yeah,
Buzz
he's-
immediately knows. We
yeah.
know immediately that he's not, because Buzz comes in and just totally owns him, and then Stinky Pete in the second one.
Yeah.
And then, the Lotso in the third one. It's really just a beta male thinking he's an alpha and then not being able to accept it until, of course, the fourth movie, which I'd hope is the final installment. And he finally
They kinda
realizes.
make it feel
Yeah, it's the last one. And he finally realizes,
at
hey,
least
you
for
know
another
what?
10 years. Then
Yeah.
we'll get Toy Story 5.
Hey, you know what? Being beta isn't so bad.
Yeah.
And yeah,
as long
that's-
as you have your lady friend.
Yep, as long as you have your lady friend to,
Slap you around.
slap you around and make you her bitch.
So that's this movie in a nutshell.
That really, honestly, Bo Peep is just kick ass. She
badass,
just knows
yeah.
what to do, and Woody's constantly trying to swing his tiny dick around, and it just doesn't work.
right,
she
yeah.
puts
no,
him in
it's
his
a
place.
total, I guess, role reversal than, I guess the earlier movies.
I guess, is Woody ever really that productive? I feel like
he
does-
is, he does make a point of being in charge and not leaving, a toy behind.
Yeah, I guess, but he's usually getting saved by other people. In the first one, Buzz has a rocket tied to him and then shoots it off and is carrying Woody with him, and they land on the back of the moving truck. That's the end of the first one.
Yeah.
The end of the second one, really, Woody's in a box, and it's Jesse and
Bullseye. Like, he's
and
the one
Buzz
to take
saving.
charge, but his friends always have his back.
Yeah, his friends are always the one doing all the work. He's just the beta who thinks he's an alpha. Like, I cannot stress how much I think that that's legitimately what this is supposed to be. Is that
Woody, that's part of it. You're really digging into it.
Yeah,
this film approaches a lot of different themes of like what makes a toy, like what I guess makes your life worth it. It more so than the other movies, I guess. Like this really does feel like, oh, this is really the adult version. I mean, it's still 100%. A kids movie, but they're like,
what is the role of a toy
after you're
from
done,
from
childhood?
If you separate a toy from its child, like what is its role? And these, like, we know these things are living, they're sentient. So like, really, their lives should be like, they should be able to think outside. Outside of our, like, I'm only supposed to be serving this child. Like they should, because they're adults, they're sentient. Like they should have this existential moment, and I think that's a pretty adult theme to lay on in a kids movie, and they haven't really addressed it until well, in the second one they kind of did too.
They said like, oh, they did say like your owner or your kid's not gonna have you forever. Like, what do you do after that? Like they were gonna be like just like on a shelf at a museum, so that would be like their life. So yeah, they've always like touched on like, oh, what's that life after getting a kid? And in the third one, it's like, oh, what you do is you just get another kid.
Yeah.
With this one, okay, what do we do like beyond that? What's the next step?
And the second one too, I think like it was more like self-referential or like existential, because like Woody sees him, like he knows he's a toy, but like you kind of don't realize that you're like a highly manufactured toy. Like he seems like he's kind of an individual, but then he sees that he's all like he has a
franchise.
It's a franchise. He's like, watching his TV show.
50s TV show like Howdy Doody, but
so it's Cowboys. Is it like Howdy Doody? Howdy Doody wasn't toys.
I think there was like a
toy thing.
Yeah,
probably
wasn't like Lamb Chop or whatever from there.
I have no idea. I don't know why you know this stuff.
I know old stuff.
I know old stuff. Like the fact that, there's old people in the world.
There's old people out there.
I know.
There's a nice old lady in this movie, and she got attacked by...
3 times.
Yeah.
Yeah, by 2 stuffed animals that were sewn together.
They were my favorite, I have to say. I was like, I hope they don't get annoying. They really didn't get annoying. I thought they were just like really... They were really cute looking, and that kind of like helped with the humor too.
See, that's a tough one for me, because I would say... I don't think they were actually in this movie that much.
No, they weren't.
They maybe made... That's why they didn't get annoying, is because there was used so sparingly, and really their big thing was being mad at Buzz and then attacking this old lady.
No, they were the comedic... I mean, there was a bunch of, like, comedic reliefs. They added, like, a bunch of new characters in this.
Yeah.
They're introducing so many characters. It felt like, oh, is this going to get too overwhelming? It never really did. It felt like all the new characters really did have their time to shine.
Wait, well, there wasn't that many. There was maybe like 4 new characters, I would say, that aren't just like one-offs. Because it's the Canadian guy, it's Bo Peep, and we already know...
Bo Peep feels new.
She's new. We already know her sheep. And then...
There's the little like Polly Pocket like officer.
Yeah.
Is that it?
And then the what's her name? That's Gracie... Gabby.
Gabby, yeah.
Yeah, the villain, quote
and the
unquote.
ventriloquist.
I wouldn't consider them characters. They were literally just supposed to instill fear. They could not talk.
They're characters.
Yes, like
creepy.
They're henchmen. Yeah, but that doesn't make them characters.
That's their... it's not... They're like Chucky doll insert. They're like...
But the thing is, like, in the third one, where there were like henchmen, the henchmen were also like characters. Like Lotso had
that monkey. Remember that monkey with the symbols, dude?
Well, yeah, but he just looked at the screens and stuff.
The cameras,
yeah, he's pretty similar. And would you consider him a character? Like he's a character, yes, but he's not like a defined character. And I don't think the ventriloquist, like he's not a Ken or a Barbie.
Combat Carl.
That's he's not a character.
Yeah.
The
I thought
only
he was going to come back.
his
I thought there was
character-
going to be a thing where the one in the snow gear was going to get a high five.
that would be great if they're just like he's standing there and then Woody just high fives him as he's jumping past or something.
Like, see it come back, Carl.
Yeah, I'm sorry I left you hanging before. But yeah, there was no resolution of that. He never got his high five. The other hand never slapped.
No, and I did like, I mentioned this in the car, that there was really no toy villain. Like, there's like, I mean, there kind of is, but like, you learn by the end, like, where she's coming from. It's more complex than just being like an evil character.
I would say she's not even really a villain. I think the villain is Woody's inability to like think outside of like, I have to be the best toy I can for my child. Like it's really like growing up as a person instead of just relying on other people.
I don't know. The one complaint I really had with this movie is like, it feels like most animated movies, they'll have like that disagreement in like the end of the second act, beginning of the third act, where the characters are going to get back together, so it's just waiting for them to get back together.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess this did feel more real because he never had to apologize for what he said. It's like, oh, it's clear what he said was like messed up, but like this Bo Peep like knows him as a person, knows he's like better than that. He's just upset. That's why he said that.
Yeah, he's kind of like Captain America in like Winter Soldier, where he like has to like think about like the ideals that he's very idealistic about like how he stands on everything.
There you go. He's Captain America. Is Captain America beta?
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. And Bucky is his alpha. No, actually, it's Peggy Carter. Peggy Carter is definitely.
She's the Bo Peep.
Yeah, absolutely. But no, he's very much just like that idealistic, like, no, there's only one way to live, and it's a story of growth, and I like that there wasn't really a villain.
There's actually growth in this, which is like, if this movie was going to succeed, it would have, like, it does plenty of the old Toy Story stuff where, like, anyone is just going to like it. It does mostly feel like just another movie, but, like, by the end, there's stuff where it's like, it does elevate more, it does give reason for it to exist, even though like the last movie was made like 10 years ago at this point.
Yeah.
Like it has a reason for being around. As far as sequels go, it reminded me a lot of Finding Dory, the sequel to Finding Nemo. I had a very similar feel to that, where they're just like in one place and they just have one goal of like getting back to the ocean or getting back to like this little girl. Like that's the overarching thing, and they just kind of like learn about themselves along the way.
Interesting. Yeah, because I've never seen Finding Dory, so I wouldn't know.
Yeah, that movie's pretty good. Like the first 20 minutes are kind of shot for shot like remakes of the first one. Like they have like a underwater, like instead of an angular fish, they have like a squid that lights up instead. So they try to rush like the first like third of the first movie in the second movie. They kind of like did the same steps. Then by the end they had their own kind of thing going. And like this movie like does move at a pretty fast pace. You're never really going to be bored.
No,
with this.
not at all.
There's always something happening. So I think most kids will be entertained.
I think so too.
This.
There's also I think there's enough stuff that like we saw this and there was a group of kids with their parents. Like there was like a couple of groups of kids and parents going to see this, and there was a dad behind us that kept laughing at like the dumbest jokes. I'm like,
it was
that's actually really funny.
Yeah, I would say overall, the movie's pretty funny. It is family friendly humor, so take that as you will. Like I think there are some like fun things that adults are going to notice when we get introduced to the like creepy antique store. We get introduced to these like really like vintage old dolls, and they start playing like music from The Shining. I'm like, this is too perfect.
And you see like the creepy doll, like the creepy ventriloquist dummies, and they're like they're mute, and they just go. It's like they're kind of Frankenstein's, and they drag their limbs, and it
was very perfect. Where it's like. It did paint like this Gabby character as like a very strange character, but in the end we understand she's more misunderstood than anything else, and how like, your first impressions, like I guess typically in an older movie they would just make this a one-dimensional villain, but
and
like we can do more.
Like I said, I don't know if I consider her a villain because like early on you learn that like she has this idea of like what being a toy is, and because she was defective from the beginning, she's just like trying to fix herself. Like, I mean, maybe it's like an allegory for mental health. It's like you need to like, you shouldn't take from other people, but you should seek out ways
That's
to
why I feel she's
fix
more
yourself
of
to make you better.
A complex villain rather than what they've had before, which is toys that have been thrown out and they kind of.
But like, I guess as a villain, like she didn't want anything she just wanted Woody's voice box, which
she was willing to go to violent means to get it, though. Having kind of torn apart.
We were talking about this. They don't feel pain. Like it's not like it's not like violence for toys is actually that severe. But also, I think Woody's like voice box has never been a big thing. Like he's
always used it as like a lasso or something.
That's
like,
the thing. He's not using it for his voice box. Yeah. He's just using the string. He's not using the like actual voice box itself.
He'll use it to get people's attention.
Occasionally, I think in this movie it was used a lot more because it was a plot device.
Yeah.
In the other movies, it definitely
like
wasn't. It definitely wasn't used to this extreme. So that's my like criticism, is that like it's not like it's something that we know. Like we know the character of Woody loves his voice box or loves that he has this like.
That's true. It should have been like a bigger thing for him to give that up. Yeah. And I guess like you're just supposed to understand. Oh, that's kind of like just maining himself for no reason, really.
Like if he needed his boots, well, it's not maiming himself. It's just like because he doesn't really need it. So like I feel like Woody, it's a little out of character for him to just like immediately say no. This is like I don't know. It seems like
he doesn't know where this person's coming from.
Yeah, but then through Forky, because she talks to Forky, she kidnapped him, which like yes is a villainous thing, but then really she's just like she's sitting around. It's not like she's torturing him or just leaving him tied up or something. Like they're playing games and she's telling him all of like they're talking and communicating, and it's like a nice like
there's no I guess there is no true. That's I guess what this movie stresses. There's never necessarily any like true villains. And I guess with this one they finally.
The villain is just like a way of thinking.
Yeah. And that's definitely in this movie of just being able to move on. That's the main component of this movie.
Yeah, it's like moving on, seeing the world. Seeing things through like rose tinted glasses. It's like the way things like the way I think the world
has
should
always
be.
Done, and they're like, oh, okay, if we want this series to go anywhere, we have to do something. This
different. So, we have to put him into a situation where like his ideals are definitely like it's not that they're like not right, but it's like it's not they're not as necessary anymore.
Yeah.
And I think I don't know. So I guess
what were your good bits?
Good bits. I love the rule of threes with that. So you said your two favorite characters were the two like
the duck and the bunny.
Yeah, the duck and the bunny who were like toys in a carnival, and like you said, they like kept pitching this plan. They pitched it 3 times. And they're like,
that would have been the first time we actually see the. I think that's the first time the toys would have actually interacted with people to that extent.
100%, and that's why it was so jarring the first time, because you think.
They actually did that.
Well, because that's like a trope of like action movies, is that they're like, okay, so here's the plan, and then it just cuts to people actually them completing the plan while there's a narration of what they're doing, and then at the end it's like, oh, they already executed the plan. Like what we were seeing was them executing it with the voiceover, and it seemed like that's what it was gonna be, and then they just jump out of the corner and attack this woman. And it's so great because you think, oh my God, they actually did that? And then it cuts back and it's like, that's a dumb idea.
That's stupid.
Yeah. And then the names were great because one of them was like, I think the last one was like Puffy Lightning or Fuzzy Lightning or something like that. And
I can't remember. They had code names for
it was something that was like quick. It it seemed like it was supposed to be quick. And that's the one where it's drawn out, where they go all the way back.
That was really funny. That was the one really drawn out joke in this, and they definitely earned that. They just like they showed this character, like they just showed this old woman going about her day. We see her go home, get some milk. She has some wine in the bathtub and then goes to sleep, and then the toys attack.
Yeah, they attack her. So that was a great bit. It just classic rule of threes. Whereas like Forky with his like, he kept doing things like the trash thing was so overdone, and
it was endearing just how much they would do it. He's just like, I'm not a toy, I'm trash. I need to go in the warm trash bin.
Yeah, it was kind of an existential crisis, which I loved. I thought it was hilarious. I did love that. Because it's like, no toy has ever not wanted to be a toy.
Right. I did love that it was a joke at first. I kind of wish they would have went somewhere with that.
That's a little dark for a kid's movie.
Yeah, how life gets created in this world. But yeah, they weren't going to do that. So they kind of teased that a little bit with Forky.
Yeah, it was interesting because there is no definitive rule of like what constitutes a toy, what makes a toy in this universe. Like I said, there's a bunch of themes in this. That was like one of the first themes is what makes a toy. Yeah, it's like what makes a toy. Well, it's nothing except like a want for a toy. Mm-hmm. But then also like the dummies couldn't, like, one thing, I don't know if it's just playing off of the fact that they're called ventriloquist, like they're ventriloquist dummies, so then they can't talk.
That's pretty clever, yeah.
But yeah, it seems like, well, none of the other toys that shouldn't be able to talk or anything like that.
I remember the race car can't talk. He just makes like revving noises. Yeah.
But Bo Peep has no ability to like she can't talk.
I guess it's because she
has a mouth.
She has a mouth, yeah. She has a mouth. She's got a mouth on her.
Yeah, she swore throughout this entire movie.
Dude, yeah.
She's like, this fucking guy.
He's back in my life.
Yeah, I hate him. Christ, Jesus. Yeah, I guess it can be it. That does kind of make sense. But yeah, you never learn anything. Okay, so Wally.
I guess my favorite bit was the reintroduction of Bo Peep to the series. Because like when I heard they were making a fourth one, I was like, do they really need to do that? What could they do with a new one in it? And I was like, oh, that's a really nice idea to bring her back. And I felt like this is definitely the first in the series where, like, I guess she was never a strong like female character in like the first two. She was definitely more of a side character.
Yeah, and she was very sexual. Like there was a lot of a lot of innuendo in the first one of like
back in the 90s,
tending my flock and playing with her like hook or crook or whatever they call it. Like there's a lot of sexual innuendo between Bo Peep and Woody, and
she's all business now.
Yeah, and it's just like
none of the fun
Woody
stuff.
finally gets to
Yeah, no, that was nice. I'm like, okay, it's nice they finally have, like, I guess Jessie was the other strong female character. But she is all the toys, like, if another, I don't know, complaint you could say is every toy except for Woody, Bo Peep, Forky, and maybe Buzz a little bit are more put to the sidelines as side characters.
Yeah,
I would even say the same thing for Buzz.
Yeah, Buzz is definitely a side character.
He's very one-dimensional in this.
Yeah, and like I said, I think I heard that Tim Allen was just like not really he liked the way the third one ended, and he was just like not as interested in making a fourth one.
That was very clear.
So I think that
if he had any input on how Buzz was going to be, that character did not grow at all.
No, he actually got worse. Yeah, because there was a lot of times where he just like was clear. Jesus. Okay. Well, I'll cut that out, but that was right into the mic.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. It's just funny. But where he just sounded like an idiot. Like Woody mentions his conscience, and Buzz is like, a conscience? What's that? And then Woody's like, oh, it's the thing that you hear in your head. It's that voice in your head. And so Buzz immediately goes to
presses his buttons.
Yeah, he has a button that will just say his random catchphrases.
He never had that many quotes before.
Nope, not go back. Get out of here. Retreat. You're done. Go home. Go back
Mission accomplished.
Yep. And then
it was funny at first, but that was his only character trait.
But then, do you think that he finally? So when the mom is putting him away, and he goes, "Go back," or "You're missing your book bag." Like when he says that once he's in the cupboard, and that's kind of what sparks them going back to get her book bag.
Yeah, is that supposed to be?
Is that him realizing? Oh no, there is another voice in my head that
it's going at such a quick pace. That's probably what's meant.
It's probably
to
what it's
say,
meant to
yeah.
be, but it's definitely lost because it just seems
It
like
just feels so weird. It's like that. Yeah, this isn't Buzz's movie. It's Woody and B Pope.
B Pope.
B Pope.
B Pope. It's our favorite Pope, Jude Law. But but yeah, I don't know.
Oh, that's right. He played the Pope, right?
He played Pope in a TV series called
Yeah.
Young Pope.
Baby Pope.
Baby Pope. Jude Law, the baby Pope. So I guess we can jump to like what didn't you like about this movie?
I will say, like, this movie, like, we did grow up with the series, but this is definitely, it is a movie for small kids, like, first and foremost. And with that, like, maybe they make the pacing, like, it's just kind of all over the place, so, like, you can stay invested. I guess, I would have liked them to focus more on the themes that they were trying to like pull through of like what makes a toy like what it is to move on, which it's all in there, but I guess it could have been done without the whole like, oh, we're running around to like accomplish this goal, which is what these movies.
But then you see character like the side characters like Duke Kaboom, is that what his name is?
Yeah, Duke
he
Kaboom,
learns
Keanu
that
Reeves.
like he kind of overcomes his own preconceived ideas of like what he can do because like you'd hear about his kid who got him right after seeing the commercial and he just couldn't compare to the commercial. He couldn't jump as far, but now he can because you know it's not just like I don't know, there's some weird where it's like it's learning that you can be more than just like what your packaging says or what your person like there is like personal growth throughout it. But I agree that like it does seem like it's weird
movie, but like it doesn't do anything like too new.
Well, except the animation, like
the animation, like it does knock it out of the park. Like I think anyone at this point, especially if you watch the first one again and then you jump right into this, they consider dust growing on wood. Just they consider like what the end of Woody's boot would actually look like. You see like all the indentations of like the plastic and everything like that. Like and these Pixar movies just keep looking better and better. Their eyes look really great. Like I feel like all the characters like they did something where it does feel like they all actually like have life to them. Yes, it's an animated movie, but there's something they do to their eyes that's like even special for each character. Like Bo Peep's eyes definitely look like porcelain, but there's still like a feeling of life in those eyes. It's not like
Wally also
uncanny
said that
valley
she was constantly giving Woody
the
bedroom eyes. Bedroom eyes.
Yeah.
But I agree to that, and I think it punched home a lot more in this movie than other movies because I think there was a lot of instances where the characters, like the toys, had to like immediately like drop and go like dead-eyed again around
and
like
then,
a lot.
And that
and
does
so
feel like, oh, now they're inanimate. There was like a switch almost that you could see.
Yeah, you see a very distinct switch between when they're inanimate and when they're animate.
I guess I don't know. But we're getting too old for these movies, man. I feel like I'm just nitpicking here. With
I don't know.
Problem.
At this
I
point,
feel most of the stuff that I would say is bad or just wrong with the movie, it is just more nitpicks. It's like they maybe do make the human characters a little too stupid just for the sake of a joke.
Well, and that is I completely agree. Is that they totally it's just a toy centric movie. Yeah. And so they didn't, and it's kind of, maybe it's like, it's similar to like how women have been portrayed in a lot of like movies in the past where it's like they're very one dimensional, they're kind of dumb, and they're like, they're really not, they're just like, they're kind of just set pieces. They're not supposed to make an impact because really it's a movie about men, or in this case, it's a movie about toys. So the humans aren't supposed to make an impact except for, because one of the toys apparently wants the dad of Bonnie to go to jail.
Yeah,
it's such a weird left turn. I don't think that was something that was in the other movies. And you turned to me and was like, "He's going to jail," and it's just so funny. And but it is a random trait or a random thing that they just put in for no reason. And they did seem
Yeah,
stupid.
and he makes a new friend in jail called Knifey.
Knifey.
Shanky. Gets made Shanky.
Shanky and Knifey. They love each other.
Yeah.
And well, no, Shanky and Knifey hate each other,
yeah,
but
they're on two different sides.
But they both love Kidney.
Yes.
And so that's why they need to be as close to Kidney as they can.
That's Toy Story 5.
That's Toy Story 5. Dad goes to jail. No, honestly, like, yeah, my nitpicks too are just like, you know, I wish Jesse also kind of by the end sounded a little bit dumb. But
again, like, yeah, none of the original toys really have their time to shine.
No, because it's not
their
about
movie.
them.
They're background characters, and I do feel at least I think in all three of them they all
4.
Well, the first 3 I feel they all had relatively like bigger roles. They didn't quite feel like just sideline characters like they do in this one necessarily. I mean, I would have to go back and watch this, but they didn't feel as like one-dimensional as they are here.
I think in the third one they were actually a little bit more one-dimensional, but because the action, like almost being burnt alive,
I remember there's a big like plan they had, and each toy had their like part to play in their plan.
So it's like they're still one-dimensional, but like in moments where, you know, it's an emotional moment, like they're still present and reacting.
And what's the one thing the pig says in this movie?
Oh God. Okay, yeah. That is a bad one. Yeah. So
it's like the one line he gets in this movie.
Yeah. So it's his name's John Rathman or
Rathenberg.
Hey, so it's something like that.
Okay.
He's Cliff from.
He's in all these Pixar movies.
Yeah, he's in every single Pixar movie. He's Cliff from. Oh, why am I blanking on what it's called? Cheers.
Okay.
He's Cliff from Cheers, so he's definitely getting up there. But he's Jewish, and I guess Porky has always been kind of Jewish or a Jewish stereotype. And in this movie, his main he's a pig, which is super inappropriate. But also in this movie, they're at Bonnie's house and Bonnie leaves, and so they're laying still because Bonnie is always forgetting things and has to come back. And he is like, he won't sit still because he's trying to get a quarter, and then when somebody calls him out on it, he goes, "But it's money," which is like, it's a fucked up Jewish stereotype that they just casually threw it in, and like that's just not necessary.
This is for the grandparents.
It was not. Yeah, this is for the people who are incredibly racist. We can't. We
this
know
is for you, Mel Gibson.
We know that there's like alt-right and anti-Semitism like growing in this country, so we can't leave them out. We need a little nod to them.
We need them in Toy Story 4.
We need a nod to them so they don't completely boycott this movie. Yep. Yeah, exactly. Tip of the hat, no wag of the finger. So that is something I definitely don't like. That I felt like that was in very poor taste. And
but
anybody
again, it's
who
a
thinks
nitpick.
I don't know. It's if that's a nitpick, I mean, it's not something that needed to be in the movie, and so they put it in for a reason, and it's an inappropriate reason.
It's still funny though.
God, okay, you disgusting person. But you also laugh when people call you a filthy Puerto Rican.
Oh, gets me every time.
Gets you every time. You chuckle so good.
So well.
So all the chuckles.
What the fuck moments, Ryan?
What the fuck moments?
My what the fuck moment is when we meet these creepy dolls and they're playing The Shining music.
That was out of nowhere.
That was my favorite part.
That was your favorite part.
That was my favorite part. Yeah.
My what the fuck moment.
Forky's the big what the fuck moment.
Forky.
I just love how at the beginning he's so
face,
so down to be thrown in the trash.
Yeah.
And another thing with the details, we see the glue she uses is that glitter glue because there's little specks in the glue and stuff.
Yeah, in his mouth. And also
he had scuffs on him. It was clear that he was thrown away at some point.
Yeah, he was worn down. He had blue all over his body, and
he had
a piece of gum was holding his feet together. So that was pretty interesting, I guess. I don't know what about my what the fuck moments. I guess when Forky comes alive. Yeah, that was a pretty because they
so fucked up. Yeah, it was done in a horror movie way where he just what again they show these toys have fear. He's like, Woody, I guess, has never seen a toy like come to life.
Yeah, like
before.
his googly
Like,
eye
before his
drops
eyes.
down
Yeah,
one,
that was
and
so
then it's
good.
like it's kind of you're waiting for that like suspenseful like sort of
Yeah.
and then he just screams and it zooms right into his face and then it's a quick cut to back.
Like, I think this movie knows that, like, especially with its old vintage toys, that a toy that can move is pretty scary.
Yeah,
So-
and if we're introducing just that anything can become a toy, that's a
Yeah.
pretty creepy concept. So I think it does kind of have a
Still
self-referential
waiting
thing.
for Chucky to make a cameo in one of these movies.
Well, they did there was a Child's Play advertisement where he kills all the Toy Story people
Yeah,
they
that
came
was
out.
the advertisement for the new one.
Yeah, and I mean I think that's as close as we're gonna
Yeah,
get.
no, that was
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
The cat too, I think might be my what the fuck moment
That
because it
cat-
just looks so good. Like it.
It looked very good, but like especially in the eyes, it was really cartoony.
Yeah.
I
And
mean,
that's
kinda
kind of
joked
how
it looked
everything.
better than the cat did in Captain Marvel, which I think it actually totally did.
I think it did because like you have to assume that in this world everybody just has bigger eyes.
Yeah,
Because
yeah, that's
everybody
true.
does, and I think that's the thing that
It
makes
was
it
the
look
thing that
cartoon.
felt the most real.
Yeah.
though, for sure.
Oh yeah, because like even when she goes to kindergarten, like her teacher's hair looks phenomenal, but then she has
Yeah.
these gigantic eyes, and like if she had normal size eyes, I think it would look very like almost too realistic. Like you'd get into like uncanny valley realism.
I'm glad they didn't have the humans in it too much, because I'm not gonna lie, like early on when we're seeing them go to class, and like I said, it really does feel like they have life in their eyes. I'm like, okay, this is a little uncanny valley, like
Yeah.
with how good this looks.
Well, and also they're just the eyes are too big. Like
That's true.
no
It's
human
like-
has eyes that
I
big.
mean,
So
we kind of talked like, yeah, they wanted to keep the same character designs as they did in the first movie, and
Yeah.
those definitely do not hold up. There's
Yeah.
a reason like there's only so many humans in those first few.
yeah, and they're all basically like Andy and all of his party guests at like the kid party guests at
Aren't
the
there, like,
beginning of the
shadows
movie.
on the wall? I feel like
You
it's just, like,
see
really
you
stiff
see like their
movements.
feet on the back of their heads
Yeah,
and stuff.
Yeah,
But
It's
they
one of-
all
yeah, those
they
kind of
all
things,
look
like, I don't
basically
think you
the
ever
same.
see Andy's mom's like face. You just see
No,
her, like,
not in
feet
the
and
first
everything.
movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
They
yeah,
got confident by the second one. They're like, okay,
Yeah,
our
we
humans
can
look a
do
little
this.
bit better.
yeah. And well, Sid you see pretty substantially. Like you see all of his body in the first
Yeah,
movie.
I guess-
like he's like one of the only characters that you see a lot of, and it's
He's
a lot
also
of his.
and his like sisters in it.
Yeah,
a little bit
yeah,
too.
you see him a little bit,
Yeah,
or
the
see her a
dog.
little bit. Oh God, yeah. See, I saw this on Instagram.
That's
It's
so
just a
funny,
comparison
the
from the dog
to this cat.
to this
It's
cat.
so crazy.
Yeah, but that's-
if you want a reason to
that's
see this
20
movie for the animation alone, there's a perfectly good
that's
reason.
24 years though.
Yeah.
Like that's like comparing the two is ridiculous because we already know how fast technology moves, and
Yeah.
so 24 years. That's like a century in like animation,
That is- yeah,
stuff
that
moving
is true.
forward. Plus, I can't imagine that there was that many animators on the first Toy Story compared to how many animators they probably had on this one.
Typically, like, I mean, that came out in '95, so I guess they would have started making that in the early '90s. Like
Yeah.
back in the day, computer-generated movies usually took like 3 years to make.
Oh yeah.
Now I think, yeah, that probably pipeline is like cut in half.
Well, I was gonna say now, like from the interviews I've heard, is that they've been working on this for about 4 years, and maybe that might be because the person I heard about that from was from like the voiceover cast, and so maybe it's like they were doing voiceovers from 4 years ago, but like animation wise, I'm sure they
I
were
went
working
to
on it.
animation school and just seeing like how beautifully everything is rendered. It's like, it took serious time for it. I can't complain anything about the animation. Like, I guess like we'll see how how well it looks in like 20 years or something from now. Like maybe we'll have the same complaints we had with like Roger Rabbit, where we could tell like, oh, that doesn't look as good.
But I think this movie is trying to like it is stylized, but it is trying to look realistic.
Yeah.
And I think, and this is something that in gaming too, it's always like a criticism that like stuff doesn't look as good as they think it is. But I think it's more that you get to a point where you can't
only
make it
make so
look
hyper-
any more
yeah.
realistic than a certain point, just because it is still computer graphics.
I
and
just
stuff like that.
wonder what is
What is reality?
What is reality? We're stuck in the Matrix now.
Yeah, we're in the Matrix, and like
Finally.
these movies
At
are
least
actually
Duke
what
Kaboom's
reality
there,
is.
The one, he's there.
Yeah, he's there. Duke and Boom. He's gonna jump over everything. Poop Kadoom.
Boom, Duke.
Kaboop kaboop da boop. Yeah. So
It wasn't a what the fuck moment for you. I'm glad Keanu Reeves was in this.
I think he was fine, but like it's
Yeah.
not like he was like, I don't know.
He's gotten like in such a crazy streak right now. With
Well,
a
and
bunch of
it's
stuff like he's like so popular. Again.
yeah, he was in that Always Be My Maybe movie. Have you seen that yet?
Always be my maybe.
It's a Netflix movie. It's Ali Wong and
I mean, but where
never
have you
can
been?
remember
He's
his
gonna be in
name.
Cyberpunk, the video game.
Yeah, and he loves people.
He loves people.
Did you see that?
I saw him pet puppies.
Well, so they did like a press release where they announced that he was going to be in it, and so he's talking about this game, and then some guy just yells,
Like, "You're breathtaking."
yeah, that's it. Yeah, and then he goes, "You're breathtaking." Yeah, but you should watch Always Be My Maybe because his role in it, like he's creepy as fuck.
Yeah.
Like
good.
he's just like playing like a very stereotypical like Hollywood dude who's like too method, where he's like,
That's pretty good.
"Oh, you want to punch me?" Like he's just like it feels like he can almost read their minds, but he can't.
Well, he
and
can.
so
He's the
yeah, you
one.
should
Maybe
check
we'll
that
get
out.
Bill and Ted 3 now
Oh,
because he's so popular again.
yeah, but I feel like it was just like a bit. Like it was just
Yeah.
like we have Keanu Reeves. It's like anybody could have played that role.
Right. It's kind of like when they just randomly got Michael Keaton to be Ken
Yeah.
in the third movie.
And to be honest, I don't think he was even that great. Not Keanu Reeves, not Michael Keaton. But like he's just, like it's
Yeah.
fine. I think I don't
mean,
know.
people will
I don't
always
know
just
the
'cause, like-
allure of Keanu Reeves, to be honest. Like
He's white.
he's that's his allure. He's white. No, I just like he's all right. Like I liked him in Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure
They're
because
really pushing, like, I guess they're like, every celebrity has an ego, but not Keanu. I'm sure there's plenty of celebrities that are nice,
yeah,
but they're just like pushing.
but like
their
that
boy
doesn't.
Keanu.
But it's like that's not coming through in like his roles and stuff like that. That's just
No.
something that people like. So he's just.
It took. I mean, he's been in movies for like 30 years now. They're like,
But
oh,
he's always
we
been
finally
popular.
realized he's nice. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just that he's nice. Now he's getting a bunch of like bit roles. But I don't know. Yeah, I think he didn't do anything for the movie. Like anybody, like I said, anybody
Yeah.
could have played that character.
Yeah, his storyline.
His voice is like the voice acting wasn't even that good. It sounded
No.
like kind of raspy,
Yeah, he
which he does.
clearly
sound like.
hasn't done like a lot of voice acting, but his storyline was kind of like the Jessie storyline from the second movie, where he just gets thrown away or like forgotten, but it's played for jokes here.
But it's also like I think it's different from Jessie because Jessie, it's like she was with her
For a long time,
for a
yeah.
long time, and
That
like
is the big
and-
emotional part.
yeah, and this is more just like, oh, he underestimated me,
Yeah.
and that's why he got rid of me. So now I'm
It
gonna
was
show
very,
him. It's like a
yeah,
redemptive
Pixar
arc.
humor.
Yeah. Okay, so I mean that's
That was
So
a
I
quick
guess
review.
we can't. Well, no, you're at 47 minutes. So I mean that's a pretty good amount
Let's
of time.
rate this fucker.
Yeah, so let's rate it. So everybody knows our scale at this point.
Let's read it again, though.
Oh, God.
Okay. So 5 out of 5 is I fucking love this movie. 4 out of 5 is I give 2 fucks about this movie. 3 out of 5 I give a fuck about this movie. 2 out of 5 I
Don't give 2 fucks about this movie.
sorry, I still had 2.5 on here,
Oh.
but that's not a thing anymore. I don't give 2 fucks about this movie. 1 out of 5 I fucking hate this movie. And
Yep.
there's halves, which are blowjobs, and quarters, which of course are hand jobs.
Of course, as everybody knows.
Ryan, what do you rate this fucker?
So like I would say it's actually. So now that we've established a rating, I'll ask you this question. So how does this fall in the group of movies? What do you think?
Oh.
Like if you
Yeah,
had to
let's do
rate
that
all,
first, like all of them.
if you had to rate all of them,
Been years since I've seen all of these, but I feel I did probably enjoy the second one the most.
yep, I agree.
I think I might put that as number 1.
Yep.
Then probably the first one, then this one, and I think the third one.
See, I would almost put this one because like I think
In what order?
it would be two because my brothers and I, well, mostly my younger brother, wouldn't watch anything but the second Toy Story for a long time, and our family had a
I guess like
TV in our car.
The other Pixar movies compared to I always really like Monsters Incorporated and Incredibles were probably the ones I preferred. But yeah, I mean I really like those first two.
Yeah, I would say the second one, like I said, my younger brother would only ever watch the second Toy Story when we would go places because we had the VHS and we had a TV in our car.
Nice.
And so I have seen that movie probably 1,000 times, which is a lot. But
it has like a really good like opening scene.
Yeah,
where it's like an actual like space adventure, but it's like
it's a video game. Yep, and he gets
that's probably the best opening.
It is pretty cool. Yeah. It's the most I mean
that one I think is the most referential. Like they do just have a Darth Vader insert.
Yeah, it's Darth Vader, and then you also get
Emperor Zurg. I remember there was a TV show that came from that movie. Was Buzz Lightyear of Star Command?
Oh yeah, there was a Star Command animated TV show, but I don't think it lasted that long. But
it's a blink and you miss it.
Yeah, I thought the airport scene in the second one was really cool. I thought it was because as a kid you walk into the airport and it's kind of like this magical place. You don't know.
And I guess the second one was really the pick. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, you keep doing it.
I won't stop. Was really the first Pixar movie where I noticed I was really sad about something. Now they try to get you to be sad with all these movies, but that was the first one with the Jessie scene. That could have been
the Sarah McLachlan music playing in the back when she loved me. That's very sad. And the thing is that toys get forgotten. Oh, we don't like this toy anymore. But for her, it's her kid accidentally left her at a tree. It's not like she got forgotten. She actually got left behind. The kid probably was really tore up about it.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing that really, that's the only thing that,
I mean, there's that.
It was different. It's
that, the girl was Andy's mom.
Yeah, there was that. I forgot about that. But it doesn't really make sense.
No,
I think she would have had a bigger reaction when she saw that.
Oh, Jessie doll.
Oh my God, I had a Jessie doll when I was young. Yeah. But so I would say the second one, and then I would say this, just because I think it had a good standalone story. Then the first one, then the third one. Because everybody was really tore up about the third one. I thought it was fine, but I thought it was just it was a lot.
There was a lot, and I don't know how well that movie holds up. I think what really left people with this is the best one kind of feelings because that originally had the definitive end.
Yeah, it's this is gonna end. Andy's gone.
That's the only part I honestly really remember about that movie. Besides that they end up in a preschool.
Yeah, they're at a preschool for the first half, and then they have this villain, and then they escape the villain, and then somehow get into this trash, almost incinerated, and then they get back to Andy's, and then get passed off. There's a whole arc that's just really confused. It's just so many plot lines and stuff packed into it because I think
there's a lot packed into this movie too, though.
Really? I think it's pretty yes, you get reintroduced to Bo Peep, but really it's just about toy. It's again like you said, toys trying to get back to their owner, and then
I mean that's always the basic through line, but there's so much the interactions between characters where characters fit in with their world and everything like that. I thought the movie was going to be just about Forky.
Really?
Yeah.
That's weird. Because I never would have expected that. But I just because there's and maybe it's just that there's just so many characters introduced in the third one. You were just bombarded with people.
Yeah, there's
because even at the end of the third one, you meet all of Bonnie's toys.
Yeah.
There's, and then you also have all the preschool toys, all the kindergarten toys. You have all of these.
The Ken doll.
Yeah, you have. Doll. Yeah, and then you establish just hierarchy and all these villains and stuff like that. There's a lot of new characters that they throw at you that you're kind of immediately okay, this is the dynamic.
Yeah.
Whereas this, I think they ease you into it a little bit. I feel there's
That's fair. I would say I wouldn't say it necessarily eases you in. It goes at a really fast pace, but none of it ever feels like forced. It's like I don't see it going like at any faster pace than what it already did.
Yeah.
It reaches that like fine line of like giving you time to introduce you to characters or reintroduce you to characters and having your plot points fleshed out.
I guess. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I guess with that being said, like,
What? So you put the first one?
first one is third,
Is third,
and then the
Okay.
third one is last, and then the fourth one is second.
I don't know. I think I probably did watch the first one more. It's between the second and first one of where to put that.
Yeah.
First,
But you have this fourth one third, right?
Yeah.
And then the third one is fourth.
I just
So it's
and
just-
it's not
yeah.
that it's bad. I just don't really remember it as much. I just remember that one really impactful scene. Like I still remember like bits and just pieces of the first two movies. It just felt more like a completed story. And the third one's like, oh, we gotta finish.
Yeah,
this
we're
story.
finishing a lot of stuff, and you gotta have like a storyline. You can't just like immediately wipe it out.
Yeah.
But I kind of agree. I just don't.
And this, I guess,
But,
would
yeah, you
almost
can't
feel
say
this
it's-
could be. It almost feels like a version like that didn't necessarily need to like
Which one?
this one to be in theaters. Like it felt like it could have been like a straight to video sort of thing. But like I mean, animation quality, like you wouldn't get that good
No.
of animation quality on a straight to video thing. But I felt
See, I
story
feel
could have been-
I feel like I like this story a lot more than I like the one in the third. Like
okay.
I think there was a little bit more emotional connect because I feel
would
like
say
I'm
this
more
is at least
emotionally
better
connected
than
to
the third one.
Yeah.
Like I said,
And it's
I
not
like
it's not saying that it's bad. Like
Yeah.
all of these movies are phenomenal. Like they're
Yeah.
great, but
Like
yeah, it's just
I really did like. I didn't think I was gonna like the character of Gabby at first, but I'm like, oh, this is a lot more complex than just a creepy doll.
Yeah.
which I thought she was.
She was-
onset, like that's what you thought it was just gonna be.
yeah, she
But
she
she was a lot
subverted
more
expectations in the same way that I
they've
think like
never, I didn't feel they ever did that with the other villains of this movie. It was pretty clear cut.
well Pistol Pete like you think he's good at the beginning. Like it's kind of
Yeah.
like he and Gabby or is it Gabby?
Yeah.
They're
That's the same with the bear in the third one too. Like he's warm and comforting to them at first.
yeah, I guess Stinky Pete is
They're both
he's
kind
just
of the
like
same
yeah,
character.
yeah.
And this one they did something a little different.
Yeah, they
Well, a lot different.
yeah, just like the complete opposite. Is like yeah, she might be a little evil or might
Yeah.
like be very like self-absorbed to the point where she's gonna hurt other people, but she is doing it because of what everybody has been doing this throughout the whole thing. It's for the kid. It's like I need to be perfect for my kid, and so that's like she's a very good parallel to Woody.
I still feel like Sid was the best bad character. Just
Yeah.
like you have this one kid who loves his toys, and then like the opposite, just a psychopath who just blows
Well, yeah.
his toys up. I'm like, you're never gonna beat that. So they didn't even like try.
Well,
with
and-
the second one, they had like there was Stinky Pete or whatever, and then there was like a toy collector
Yeah,
guy.
and he was just like
Just
he
a
was
slob who just
he-
wanted to
he-
make money.
Well, he had. It
wasn't
was
as
like he had
interesting
no
as Sid.
imagination because you could
Yeah.
almost be like, well, this is just like Andy's imagination about these, or like a kid's imagination is bringing these toys to life, and that old man has lost his imagination, and so like these toys to him are just a means to an end of making a deal.
Yeah.
They're gonna sit on a shelf. They're not gonna be moving. They're not gonna be characters. And but for a kid, like for Bonnie or for Andy, these characters are running around and doing all this stuff and kind of getting into mischief and getting out of it and solving all these problems. And now this last movie's the first one where you like don't have it's like there's also this thing where even without the kids, they're individuals, which I think is a way more adult theme.
Yeah. Yeah, they didn't really explore that until this one.
No. So yeah, I would say
They're like, oh, you're a lost toy. You need a kid. It's kind of the thing.
Yep. Yep. So yeah, that was a big theme through this. But I would say my rating, I gotta give it like a one bump. Like I would say it's a very good middle of the road. It looks great. It's a better Toy Story movie, which automatically like you gotta do nostalgia. So I give 2 fucks about this movie.
Okay.
So I would say 4. Like it's still, like you said, it's kind of redoing a lot of stuff from the first couple. So like you can't really give it a perfect score, even though it is a really good movie.
Yeah, it's a solid movie. It's nothing necessarily. It's not that new. Like it's still familiar, but they did a great reintroduction of like one of their older characters that was very much just a side character. Now she feels like
A
her
complete.
own yeah.
Yep.
It does, yeah. Again, I mean, they'll probably find a way to make a fifth one 10 years down the line, because I don't know. This does feel feels very complete. We'll
it is
see
a
what they
very
do.
complete story. I won't see another one because
won't
it's
see another one?
because
Yeah.
I don't know how. Like the only way that they could do it if they're gonna keep I don't think Tim Allen or Tom Hanks
Hanks.
are gonna come back for anymore, and that means they're either gonna come
get
up with new
Forky
characters.
spin-offs.
Tony Hale's just gonna be the lead on that.
Forky
Yeah.
goes west.
Forky Goes West. No, yeah. So I would say 4.
Okay.
So 2. Yeah, I give 2 fucks about this movie. I think that's it's not perfect, but it's good.
For any animation fan, any
Anybody
kids
who
at heart, you're gonna really appreciate just how this movie looks.
anybody who just wants to see how far we've come in animation.
Yes. I mean, this, like it does almost feel like Pixar has a monopoly on how good. It's like between them and like DreamWorks of how good they can make these 3D movies feel. They do stick with a style that like has worked for them for the last 20 years, but now they've really refined it to a way where it's still that style, but it still also feels very real
and new
at the same time. And it does feel new. It's really hard to, I don't know. I just, like, there's still some pacing problems for me that I feel have kind of bogged down recent Pixar movies. I never felt like you could really, like, sit in this world too much, and I would kind of want to do more of that.
But is that a kid? Is that like a kid? Like this is a kids movie. Kids can't sit. Like there was.
That's
there was
true.
a kid
I guess,
gurgling,
like, now this is
gurgling by the
finally showing
end.
That, like this is definitely. But I don't think I should really lessen the rating for that. So at the end of the day, I'm also gonna give it. I give 2 fucks about this movie. So 4 out of 5. Yeah.
And Carl.
It's not a perfect movie.
Carl never gave us an answer, so
He said
I think
he fucking loved it. He gave it 5 out of 5.
I don't think he's seen it.
No, he has.
But so that is a solid like 4 and a hand job, or 2 fucks and a hand job. I would say as like
we're giving Carl a 5.
Yeah, he can say it's a 5. He's a creature of nostalgia.
And that's this is what that movie will prey on. But I feel like instead of something like Incredibles 2, where it felt very much like the same thing to the first one.
Yep.
This,
I think it was different.
The storyline of why like we got to get back to the kid, the same as like maybe the first 2. That's like usually the end goal, and it's like, what do we learn along the way? That's always what these stories are about. Is like they learn different lessons along the way, and this they explore something they haven't before. So it makes it worthwhile that this movie actually got made.
Yep. Okay. So that is our review of Toy Story 4.
You know what, guys?
Oh damn, we are right off the bat as soon as we're on. Yeah, guys, it's hot in here.
Yeah,
we're kind of crabby, sweaty, gross. Wally's finished his Gatorade.
I need more Gatorade.
He needs more Gatorade.
Fuck off.
Fuck off.